my name is Skip, and this is from the Fourth Row's review of The Dark Knight Rises. Now, The Dark Knight Rises is the third in a trilogy of Batman movies by director and writer Christopher Nolan. Now, once again, portraying Batman is Christian Bale, and Commissioner Gordon is Gary Oldman, and Morgan Freeman is Lucius Fox, and Michael Caine is Albert Pennyworth. Now, we have some new characters this time around, and some of those are Tom Hardy as Bane, and Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as John Blake, and Marion Cotillard as Talia al Ghul. Now, this time around, Batman has been on the shelf for 8 years, and all the prisoners that Harvey Dent locked up in Arkham Asylum, so he has nothing to do, basically. There's basically nothing going on. Well, unbeknownst to him, there's a plan to usurp him, Bruce Wayne, as controlling his own company by some other kinds of nasty characters. And they have a gentleman by the name of Bane working for them. Now, Bane has an army of guys that do his bidding for him, but he's not a guy that doesn't like to get his hands dirty himself. And so he will hurt you, and hurt you bad if you mess with him. Now, we also have a jewel thief in this movie, otherwise known as Catwoman, and she has her own little agenda. And so she goes around stealing jewels from Bruce Wayne just so she can get some fingerprints off his safe, and that gives the men the access to Wayne files. So they end up setting up a failure of his financial assets. So he has to kind of come out of hiding as a recluse, Bruce Wayne does, and start getting back into things. And so he has Lucius Fox help him out by keeping the special area of Wayne Enterprises available, so he doesn't have anybody else that has access to the Batwing or the Tumbler or the Bat Bike or anything like that. So he ends up confronting Bane, and if you read the Batman comic books, you know what happens to Batman once he confronts Bane for the first time. He gets his back broke. And so, right in the middle of the movie, Batman is injured, and we don't see him for a while because Bruce Wayne is put into a prison and he's injured. So what we do have is Bane turning the city of Gotham into a war zone, and he destroys the bridges, and he sets off bombs, and he imprisons all the police, and very few people go out of their way to try to help save Gotham. And John Blake is one of the few people, along with Commissioner Gordon. But without Batman's help, it's almost a futile effort. Now, the Imax version of this movie is breathtaking, and I just think it's a great way to see a movie, especially these movies that Christopher Nolan, the scope of the movies that he films, and it's meant to be filmed in this kind of way. Now, this time around, Pittsburgh fills in for Gotham City. In the last two movies, it was Chicago, and you almost don't recognize that it's Pittsburgh, except for a few different things. There's a couple clues, there's a football game, well, it's the Gotham Rogues, but there's a lot of black and yellow. So, but then there's a yellow bridge that they kind of dumbed dumb the colors down a little bit so it doesn't seem so obvious that it's the Yellow Bridge in Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh makes for a great setting. But the action in this movie is just unrelenting. I mean, there's just Gotham City is basically a war zone the whole time around, and the the overlying story is revenge. You know, a lot of your comic book movies have that kind of storyline, but I think Christopher Nolan has set this movie up as a revenge movie from the get-go. When he introduced Bruce Wayne 2 movies ago in Batman Begins, and I cannot say enough about everything in this movie is just first rate. The acting, the action, the special effects, the setting. It lends itself for just such a great story, and I just could not say enough about what a unbelievably brutal and relentless movie this The Dark Knight Rises is. It just is relentless, and it keeps going and going until it finally ends. And I believe this is a perfect ending for this trilogy, and I think Christopher Nolan has done himself justice, and the fans justice, and DC Universe justice. This has been an unbelievable ride for me as a movie fan, and also a fan of these characters, that he can really do such a wonderful job with them and send them off to the next person on this unbelievable ride. So this is Skip, and this has been my review of The Dark Knight Rises from the fourth row.